All right, everybody, back again. We are here tonight with none other than Snail, aka Dale Rodman from Dale and the ZDubs on the Denizen Sucks podcast, episode 19. Could not be more excited. So I want to just get right into the nicknames. Snail, what's that? Is it because it rhymes with Dale?
Yeah, my bandmates, when the band started, just kind of would jokingly call me that if I was like late or slow, or and I'm
Oh,
always
Snail. Okay, fair
I'm
enough.
always a little late or slow. So
There's
at first I
there's
didn't
no, go ahead.
at first I didn't like it, and then I started to love it.
Nice. Nice, nice. There's a lot of dragons going on. What's that all about?
Where?
There's a bearded dragon, is there not? I don't know.
Oh, that is one dragon. That's true. Yeah, there's bearded dragon.
I
I
thought I
guess
saw some other dragons mentioned. Maybe I was
there's a
incorrect on
dragon.
that.
I have a dragonfly tattoo.
Nice. Um, I see you're doing a lot of acoustic shows, or we have some
Yeah,
coming up. So what's
yeah, we're
that like for
gonna
you, like relative to playing with the band?
yeah we're gonna do some acoustic shows, which we kind of do rarely. I try not to do. Is Peter joining us?
Peter is
Sorry I'm
joining
late,
us.
guys.
There he is. He made it.
What's up, Peter?
Hey, Dale. Nice to meet you, man. So sorry I'm late.
You're fine, dude. It's no big deal. We're not on the front lines of Ukraine here.
Yeah, God
This
bless
is the
you.
Denizen Sucks podcast. We run a tight ship, and frankly, Pete, you're on notice.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you guys continue where you left off, please.
No, I was just asking about the acoustic shows that he's got coming up and how that's different for him. As I know for myself, I do a little guitar acoustic stuff. I find when I play an acoustic, it's like very scary for me because like there's nowhere to hide. I don't know if you feel that way or you like that kind of environment more. Or...
Yeah, I think Greg Allman said in his book "My Cross to Bear." He's pretty much said what you just said, paraphrased a little differently. He said he feels naked when he plays acoustic.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we
Awesome
all
book,
feel
by
like
the way.
that. Yeah, I like that book a lot.
Yeah.
You said Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, in his book "My Cross to Bear."
No, Pete, the financial
No,
planner.
no, I didn't hear the Allman part. Shit,
Okay.
okay. As someone who's seen the Allman
The
Brothers
tax
multiple
accountant,
times,
Greg Allman, the tax accountant.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen them multiple times. They're incredible.
Yeah, I really like the book. I read the book actually multiple times when I was locked up, and I remember that part clearly where he said he feels naked when he played acoustic,
Uh-huh.
but it was good enough for Cher to like it, and then they started dating.
Yeah. Well, he also kind of crushed it acoustic, so there's that too. Um,
Speaking of, I guess, yeah, Dale, kind of speaking of being naked, you mentioned that you consider yourself kind of a storyteller first and a musician second. I'd love
Yeah,
to know kind of which song from your sort of latest work do you feel is kind of the most naked or sort of vulnerable story?
probably the way back featuring Benny Ranks, who's in Slum Beach Posse, Denim's crew out
Mm-hmm.
west. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that song is pretty vulnerable, and the lyrics, uh, definitely have this kind of nostalgic, sensitive, emotional, kind of introspective tone. And I really like how that song came out. And that one's a little bit more serious and I guess naked, if you will.
Yeah. And that when was that released? This year?
Yeah, it just came out a couple months ago, produced by
Nice.
Denim, featuring Benny Ranks.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And where,
that one's good.
yeah. So are you? Whereabouts are you based? I don't know if we already
I'm in
discussed.
You're cool. I'm in Maryland and
Nice.
right outside of DC.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I usually say if I'm far away, I say I'm out of DC, but if I'm not too far, I'll
right.
say Maryland. I just say, depending on who I'm talking to, I'll say DC or Maryland.
I got you. I got
What?
you.
Not Baltimore, I assume. Like,
No.
I actually live right in between. Baltimore's 20 minutes north of me.
Okay.
DC's 20 minutes south.
Oh yeah, right.
Nice.
I live right in between Baltimore and Maryland.
That's
Excuse
awesome,
me,
man.
Baltimore and DC. Right
I went
between
to
each other.
school in Baltimore, so I know the area well and
Nice. What's cool?
have a lot of love for it. Johns Hopkins.
Nice. Yeah, I went to we you guys beat us in soccer. I went to Dickinson.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Nice.
Yeah, you
Uh,
guys kicked out. You guys beat us in all the sports actually, and you were smarter than us.
Yeah,
I remember
I don't know
going to
about that second
Dickinson.
thing, frankly, but I
Yeah,
we
well,
have
okay,
had some
thank you, Dave.
pretty awesome shows at the old Hopkins fraternity down there. That's a
Well, and
good time.
also the University of Maryland at a venue called the Void. I don't know if you ever played there, Dale.
We did play the Void,
You did
and
play the Void?
Let's
yeah,
go.
we
No
played
fucking
some
way,
sick.
man.
We played some sick hard. I don't know if you guys remember a guy named Asher.
I think so. Yeah. I
Oh,
think he was the guy. Did he book it or something?
he might have.
Yeah,
That was like this. That's so crazy because that was like this one of the smallest little hole in the wall, awesome little venue. I don't know if it's still. Do you know if it's still up and running? I don't know. That
No,
was so
I think
cool.
they're done, but it was a
Yeah.
good vibe for sure.
yeah. It was definitely special because it was a house party that
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
like
Right.
they made sure not to make too what's the word, too venue-y. They kept it like
Right.
really
Right.
like house party. Like there was no stage, and
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
people would like people would like crowd surf and like
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
just like
very DIY in a
yeah, it
great
was
way.
It was
DIY. It
awesome.
was it was sick as shit. We played I
Yeah.
think like maybe two like really good shows there. But we go hang out there too.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I
So
remember when we booked the show, I think it was Asher. He sent us an email and it was like, you remember Pete?
oh yeah,
So you're playing the fucking void. It's just
and
Yeah.
then
like,
it, and then I was like, what to
yeah.
expect when
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
playing the
I just
Void?
love that line. So you're playing the fucking void.
Yeah. So Dale, tell us a little bit about like the band, man, and kind of what you guys are working on right now. What's upcoming? What are you excited about?
Yeah, we have an album coming out in July, and half the songs have been released so far, and the other half will come out with the record. And I guess that's how bands package records now, is like you release some singles and then the whole record. But the exciting part is that it's produced by Denim, Surfer Girl, and Justin Spalding are the three producers. And
Yeah.
I guess what's as exciting as the record itself is the way I got Denim to produce us. And the Pier is they're like a online periodical that chronicles rock reggae and
Uh-huh.
sublime stuff. And they wrote an article about this, but in Pompano, Florida in 2024, I climbed up a fence and like hopped in a tree and like waited in the tree and then like came down the tree at an amphitheater show. It was like Article Sound System, Pepper, Denim, and Iration. So there were a couple thousand people at the show. And I like had some money on me and I like just kind of made myself look like I was supposed to be there. And there were like, lots of cops and like people backstage, that were working the show. And I just kind of kept it chill and I sat outside of Denim's trailer for over 2 hours.
Wow.
And then he finally came out and he didn't know who I was, but he heard I was out there.
Oh my God.
In the
And
tree.
No,
He,
no.
he he heard there was a guy in the tree, or no, he came down from
No,
the
no,
tree.
no.
yeah.
You're Dale and the Z-Dubs, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know if he knew who I was, but I think Logan from Article Sound System, because she was the only performer I knew because we'd played with her and them, and they're a kick-ass band too. She was like, how long have you been out here? I was like, I'm waiting for Denim, and she was like, I'll go get him. So I think
Yeah.
she said, yo, like Dale's out here. He like wants to
Uh-huh.
record you. He's been waiting. So he like comes out with his like crew. It was like kind of like a movie, like stepped out. He was like wearing this really big, thick hoodie. It was like over 100 degrees out in Florida,
Yeah.
Pompano in July. It was like the summer. It
Oh
was so
God.
hot out. I was sweating so much. And he had this like huge like hoodie on.
Yeah.
And he like walked out with his like boys. And, and he was like, yeah, it was like slow motion. And like I like stood up and he was like, how long you been out here? And
You
I
just
was
waited
like,
there for like 2 hours, is what you're saying.
longer than 2 hours,
Jesus.
longer. And like, and he like came out, and like I'm like trespassing on
Right, right,
probation,
right.
on probation, mind you. And he's like, how long you been out here? And I was like a couple hours. And I didn't know if he was gonna be like, get the fuck out. And he like kind of like looked over to his videographer, I think it was. He was like with like a crew of guys. And I could have been like some crazy rabid fan,
Yeah,
but
Right,
right.
right.
he was like with his boys, like probably to make sure nothing crazy was happening. But like, and then
How did you start that conversation? Like,
Yeah.
he walked up. He walked up. He said, how long? He said, how long you been out here? I said, a couple hours. And he like looked over to his boy and he goes, that's what it fucking takes.
Let's
And I
go.
was like, and
I
then
love it.
that's what I knew I was in there.
That's
And then I like forced money on him. He tried not taking it. I gave him like a bunch of cash. He was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, nah, like, and I
yeah.
was like, no, I'll take it. I was like, this is a down payment. I wrote these songs in prison.
yeah,
You're my favorite producer,
Wow.
and I need you to do them. And then he's like such a rock star.
yeah.
He like knew I wanted a picture with him. So without even asking, he kind of just grabbed my phone. I guess it was unlocked because I was like, and then he like took a selfie, put his number in. He like took a
Nice.
selfie, put his number in. He kind of like he like started walking. He like threw me. He was like, hit me up when you're in Cali, and he walked away.
What a story.
Oh
And
man.
then I hit him up when I was in Cali, and we started off just doing two songs. There was not supposed to be a whole record. We did
Right.
two songs together. One called "Not Free Money,"
Uh-huh.
which he's on, by the way.
Hmm.
Good God.
And
So,
then yeah,
so you
it's
guys
a
were you recorded out in California then?
yeah. Well, he does everything. He does everything in his garage. He calls it the HB Garage Stew, the Huntington Beach Garage Stew. That's where he does everything. I mean, he's done. He's had some like really big artists come through there. He just did a song with Swayze. I know they did there. He's worked with Ryan Ellis, who's the Christian rapper who is on one of our songs that I met through Denim. He's got like 2 million monthly listeners. He's worked
Wow.
with, I mean, all the Slum Beach Posse boys come through there. So he makes all the magic happen out of
Yeah.
his garage. And I went out there, and usually when you go work with a producer, you like every situation's different, but like usually they're not like, yeah, like he has 4 kids, by the way. And the oldest one,
Prolific.
the oldest one's like 12 or 13. Keegan, shout out Keegan. He's good at football. We went to his football game, and good
Shout out
quarterback.
Keegan.
And yeah, Denham just had me live with him and his family for like the week. And
Wow.
I'm like having dinner with the kiddos, and like he just was so cool and like kind of took me in, and like we did 2 songs, and then I was like, let's do more. And we ended up doing 7 tracks for the record, and then Surfer Girl did 3.
My God.
Justin Spalding did 1, and I think
That's
we got a
Since
awesome.
you're
really
so
good.
close with him, you got to tell him about the Denizen Sucks podcast. We got to have him on. It'd be awesome. Um, that's how you get a producer. Everybody, take
Yeah.
note. Climb a tree with a lot
And
of
just
money
hang out.
and
You
be
got to hang out for
ready
a
to
while.
wait for a long ass time.
Yeah, it was just kind of like old school vibes. Like I don't know if you've read Rome's story. Rome who does stuff with Dirty Heads.
I
A
haven't
little
read
bit.
it.
He used to like wait outside of the studio and like sleep in a van and like wait outside the studio
Yeah, yeah.
for Dirty Heads. And that's how we met Dirty Heads, was like waiting
Yep.
around, like
Uh-huh.
sleeping outside the studio type shit.
It shows you're obviously dedicated to the cause, man, and like you're willing to do that sort of stuff. People respect that.
Totally.
Yeah,
So-
I think some people would be like freaked out and like,
yeah. He
not
seems
into
like a
that.
really awesome dude.
But I think
Yeah.
Denim's like he's got his style and his genre and his creativity and his like artistic wavelength.
Yeah.
I think does lend itself to like not sending an email to a manager and like fuck this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're gonna jump this fence. I'm gonna give you some fucking cash. I wrote this shit in prison.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
got good
amazing.
songs. You're an amazing producer.
Uh-huh.
Let's link. And yeah, I think we got a lot of fire.
That's awesome. So
So the,
you said that half of the album has been you put out half the album and the other half's coming out in July. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah. We put out half the album. We got She's the One's already out with Tropodelic and Surfer Girl.
Yep.
The Way Back with Benny Ranks is already out. Roseanne Barr featuring Swayze's already out.
listen to that one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those are all part of the record. And then in July, we'll wrap it all up and put 5 more on there, that some of which Denim did, some of which Surfer Girl did, and then some of which Justin Spalding did.
That's awesome. And then are you guys planning to maybe do a tour in for the album? What are you guys looking to do maybe
Probably won't
live?
tour. Probably won't tour. People's attention spans are short, and I think that strategy made a lot of sense. Maybe in a different time, and if we were a little bigger, I think you'd like tour a record. You'd be like,
Yeah.
if
No,
you have
it's
like
you're
a
right.
big following.
It's
But right
totally
now,
different now.
yeah, now it's kind of just like, yeah, we'll tour, but
Right.
I don't know if it's like for the record. We'll like play some of the songs. Also, like it's interesting how you think that when you release music, everyone wants to hear it. But what I've learned, and maybe when our band's bigger, or if we get bigger, this won't be the case. But at the level we're at, it usually takes a couple summers for a song to become wanted or requested live at shows. It's not
Right.
an
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
instantaneous
Uh-huh.
process where you release
Yeah.
music and people want it. People want the stuff they know. And it can take a
Yeah.
little bit of time. I mean, there's
Right.
exceptions to that, right? Like when Tropodelic releases, you know, Holiday with Little Stranger and it gets like hundreds of thousands of streams immediately.
Right.
That's a little different. They're bigger than us. They can create more traction faster. But
Uh-huh.
I
Right.
think for where we're at, I've noticed that it can take a summer or two and the good songs kind of rise to the top. Then we'll throw them into the rotation. But we actually, when we tour, I try to play more popular songs that have streams that people know.
That's a really good point. Makes total sense. Yep. Sorry, Dave. I interrupted you, Dave. Did you have a question?
I can't remember what it was, but that's
I
fine.
I
It'll
was
come
gonna
back.
I was gonna ask Dale. So like is the band's kind of hometown DC? Is that where you guys like
So, so long story short, I had the same band for like over 10 years. They like wrote the prison bid with me and like had all these guys from like 2000, 14 and 15 to 2024, 25. And they all left one by one in 24. One had kids,
Yep.
another one's our drummer had kids, and then our keyboard player started a legitimate business
Damn
where,
kids. Sorry.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
we
I
we
have three
know.
myself. So
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah.
Well,
Well, our band,
we know this story is like people come and go.
our band's like communist China. You're only allowed to have one kid.
It's
No,
a
I'm
pretty
just
good
kidding.
rule. That's a good rule.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, he had, he had a couple beautiful baby girls, so that was a priority. And then
Yeah.
Right.
our
Right.
keyboard player started a business, and then our bass player essentially was like, unless you can pay me more than I'm making at my engineering job, like this doesn't make sense. And
Right.
so people just kind of left one by one, and
It's tough.
it'd be like that. So we got new guys now from up and down the East Coast, which is a little complicated logistically, but we have a pretty phenomenal band right now.
That's awesome, man. No, I mean you're speaking our language. I think what are we on, Dave? We're on our sixth drummer now, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe even seven.
When we get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'll just tell you this much: it's going to be like the whole, the whole stadium is going to be filled with members of our band. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
I totally hear that.
yeah,
Um,
man. But
you
that's
guys
awesome.
went on a long hiatus, though. Like, I mean, first of all,
Oh yeah,
you've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I think
yeah. I
I
guess it
became
depends
aware
how
of
long it
you
is.
around. I think I became aware of you the first time we played Arlene's Grocery in
2013, maybe 2014.
yeah, something like
Oh,
that. You guys
Yeah,
were like on the roster, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool looking band."
cool.
And so I know you've been doing it for forever, and
Yeah,
for a long time, but you had a hiatus, which is very I think a lot of bands go on hiatus and they never come back, but you guys came back and came back like stronger is what it seems like. Like I want like can you talk about that a little bit and how that like and first of all like if you want to talk about what caused the hiatus or not, whatever, but like how was that experience for the band? Maybe it was a
Yeah,
lineup change.
the lineup change didn't happen till after the hiatus, but
Oh,
I went to prison for 3 years for
right,
drugs, and then when
right,
I got out, it was the very start of COVID, and
right,
Oh,
the DC area was, probably one of the most COVID aware, COVID regulated, you know, areas in
right.
the country, which was
Uh-huh.
annoying. So we had essentially a 5 year hiatus, not by choice, and but we were.
That's a long in the life of a band. That's like an eternity.
Yeah,
Um,
it felt like a long time, but I
yeah.
feel like I used the time. Like I learned music theory in prison. I studied really hard. I would have books sent to me, music
Uh-huh.
theory books. I would tell everyone to send me music theory books, and I would do the workbooks. And I did a lot of singing in prison. I would sing on the yard. I did the church choir, which was sometimes 2 days a week if we're not locked down, and just a lot of singing on the yard with my radio. And then spent so much time writing songs in there. So when I
So
got
you're
out, I had like,
writing songs in prison, like no
yeah,
instruments, nothing, just your
yeah, no instruments, just kind of like, but I had a radio. I had a radio, so I would, I could like figure out intervals on the radio and like try to mimic melodies and like
right.
run scales according to like if the song was major or minor, and like there was just like lots of stuff I do to help my, I guess, my vocal ability and my oral
yeah.
theory. And yeah, I feel like I got good at music and got good at writing in prison, and then I got out.
That's so
We didn't
insane, by the way. I'm very impressed with that. But yeah, yeah.
Don't be too impressed. I was pretty bad at music before prison. I was
Okay.
like starting at like, not at like an A level. I was like a mid to bad musician before prison. I was just like more of just like a personality and
Okay.
and an athlete. But now I'm
Uh-huh.
like pretty confident musically. Like I feel like I can, because for 3 years, like I would do something to help me musically every day. I mean, you're just sitting in there, and like I'd
Yeah.
either be writing or doing vocal drills
Yeah.
or straight up singing on the yard. And some days I could do a lot of days actually. I could do all three for hours. I could
Yeah.
write. I could try to write for a couple hours in the morning,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
hit the yard and go sing for a couple hours.
You had
Hmm.
the time.
And then at night I would pull out my music theory workbooks and
Hmm.
literally learn all my theory. And there were numerous days for months on end where I could do all three things in a day.
Wow.
And like,
Yeah.
That compounds. That compounds on itself, obviously.
it did. And now, I mean, if you go listen, all our good songs post prison, like that's a result of everything I just said. Like
Uh-huh.
I was pretty mid at best before
Right.
prison. And then when I got out of prison, I was like, okay, like I understand chordal movement. I understand,
Wow.
um, you know, I understand and I'm able to articulate what's happening from a theory standpoint in a song. And like I've I've written 50 to 100 songs, maybe 50 finished songs, 100 unfinished songs in prison. And like it's writing, songwriting, I think, is somewhat of a muscle. And I think that the most important thing was actually learning how to fucking sing, like actually understanding intervals and having good pitch and like breathing and you know just the way
And you would just be
to.
singing to yourself,
Yeah,
practicing like
I'd walk the yard and sing with my radio. That's what I
And
do.
wow.
what?
And the yard's enormous. And if it was
Wow.
like a really busy day on the yard, I wasn't like singing loud, like drawing a lot of attention to myself. But like
Right.
there's so many days in prison where like it was either like too hot or too cold or too rainy or too snowy, and like 95% of the people don't go out. And
Right.
there'd be so many days where like this massive yard just had like some people on it. And I would sing loud on the yard for hours.
Uh-huh.
That's obviously, yeah, impressive. And I want to just follow up about the church choir because I know you mentioned that, and I'm really interested about what that was like.
Yeah, it was like pretty weird and bad, but like it was cool.
Okay.
It
Nice.
was just like a good way to get a dude. They had got being in the church was hilarious in prison. Like they would bring people to come speak in tongues. They would like find these like low budget ass fucking pastors and speakers that were just like fucking Timu low budget ass. Where they find these motherfuckers? Like obviously there's no budget. They grabbed anybody
Yeah.
type shit, and they
Okay.
would come in and like speak. And yeah, we were the choir. So like in between like sections of the service or like before after the speaker, we would play a little bit and we would practice once a week. And like it was pretty hilarious, to be honest with you.
Did that? So it
It was
sounds
a
like
joke.
that. It sounds like that didn't really help your because you said singing was
No,
the most important part that you
that helped
learned.
with harmonizing.
Oh, okay.
I got better at harmony, I feel like, but
Uh-huh.
like it was just a joke. Like the church was a joke. Like the
Yeah.
organization of it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was. And if
Yeah.
I'm offending anyone who's a religious, good.
Okay. Well, Dave and I love to talk about harmony in the band because I think it is such a thing that sets up a band apart.
Yeah,
If
I
you can
love.
have 2 or 3 part harmonies
Yeah.
in your songs, it's just such an
Agreed.
awesome thing. So,
Agreed. I'm a sucker for harmonies. I love bands that have good harmonies. I think it
Yeah.
makes such a difference.
oh yeah.
100%.
And
100%.
there's so
I'm
many, I feel like there's just so many bands out there that just don't do it, because it is something that you need to learn and practice, obviously.
It's a weird thing
Yeah,
because I think like so much of music, I think a lot of it you can't be taught, I think, to some extent. But harmony, I think, is one of these things that you can actually get a little better with, if you work at it. I feel like I've
yeah.
gotten
I
a
mean,
little better with it.
I'm not. I respectfully disagree with what you just said, but it depends.
Yeah.
I think there are some things you can't be taught. Like if you're just like Bob Dylan, who talked about how he wasn't writing the songs, he was just literally
Right.
channeling
He's a
pen to
vessel.
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that you can't be taught. But I've learned everything. I didn't play music when I was young, and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, no,
self-taught
I hear. Yeah, I
on
agree with you,
everything.
Dale, for sure. Yeah, I think Dave, what Dave was maybe getting at is that, yeah, like some stuff, maybe just people have inherently,
Yeah.
but I'm
For sure.
definitely in the
Some
same
people
way.
just don't have, I mean, let's be honest. Some people just don't have rhythm. Like we've
Well,
met people like this, and
yeah,
it's
I'm pretty
fine. Whatever,
rhythmically
that's fine.
challenged.
They got other things they do, but I definitely know people in my life who can't strum a guitar, and they can't do it. But
I'm pretty rhythmically challenged. I think it just depends, right? It just like depends. Like I think things can be learned, but some people
right,
take to these things better and some people don't. But a meritocracy, it's not like who's working the hardest. It's not who's the best. It's not like who has the most technical prowess. Like I think music, it's very difficult to predict what's going to hit. It's very difficult to know or have the foresight, uh, to know what's going to be popular or what's
yeah,
going to gain traction. So like, it's hard to like say even like what you're saying you have the work ethic to do it. It's like what is doing it like. I think that's like just a thin slice of it. I think there's a lot of factors that become this like you know un this difficult to perceive amalgamation of variables that create whatever you would determine is success.
right.
well, 100%, totally, and
That makes
like that's
sense.
yeah, it does, and I think, well, I guess the follow up question would be to you, Dale, is like, in your opinion, right now, what does success look like for you? Is it like, hey, having a top 100 hit? Is it like selling out Madison
Um,
Square Garden? Or is it just like, hey, creating music that speaks to you and is real to you? Or maybe it's a combination of all three?
yeah, I think that I really like John Mayer. I like his guitar playing, and I like the way he speaks about music. I actually never listened to his music.
Yeah.
I watch YouTube videos of his solos, and I learn his solos.
Oh,
And like,
interesting.
I don't really like care for his songs that much. He's a great songwriter. I just don't like
Yeah.
listen to that like type of
Yeah.
like. I like John Mayer. I like the way he thinks about
Uh-huh.
guitar, and I like the way he thinks in general. And he said it's very important in one of his interviews. He said, I watched a lot of his interviews. He said it's very important to define one's perception of success. So you have some sort of,
North Star.
Exactly, North Star. And I haven't done that, nor am I thinking about doing that, which is why I'll probably stay manic and miserable.
Yeah.
But I think that
you're producing with denim, man. You're about to get into the real big time.
I think that on the other side of that coin is the fact that I'm not like a studied musician that wanted to do this from a young age. I didn't even play music in middle school or high school. So I'm already so far beyond anything I thought I could do.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
In another through another lens, I'm just perpetually in bonus rounds. And it's hilarious to me how like we're further, for lack of a better word, we're further than a lot of people that wanted to do this from a young age, care so much about playing big shows and like doing all the things from an optics standpoint that you would, perceive as success. I think we're further than a lot of people that want those things and think about that. And like, I like don't really like think about that too much because like I'm fucking shocked we even made it this far.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Yeah. I can't even believe it. We just sold out 500 cap room in DC, our headline, and then we also sold out all this year. And this all started happening this year. Then we sold out 400 ticket room in Bradenton with Melodos and Sons of Paradise, and then we sold out Asheville 200 cap, and we sold out more shows on this past tour. And everyone's out here talking about how people aren't buying tickets. That's like kind of a meme right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
I saw that. Yeah.
No. It's like the meme right now is that people aren't buying tickets to shows, and we're selling out these small cap rooms, and like we got a lot of momentum, and like I can't even believe we made it this far.
Well, that's awesome, man. I was just going to say one thing to that. It's like, just at a minimum, you guys haven't quit, and that's so much of it is like
100%.
You're just like, you stuck with it. And like, here you are, man. And that's so much of it is just like, just not giving up and being persistent. But, good on you.
I think that's a thin slice of it. And I think that just because you don't quit, it doesn't mean you're going to make it.
No, of course not. There's a lot more to it, but obviously step one is don't quit.
Step one is don't quit. I agree with that. But there are also, and I hate when people come on podcasts and it's just this groupthink, hyper agreeable energy exchange. I think it's just so fucking annoying. So
we're very antagonistic on the
I'm
podcast. And may I just say, fuck you, Dale Broadman. Fuck you.
I'm genuinely enjoying moments where we disagree and where because I think every fucking podcast, every podcast is like a couple bros jerking each other off in a groupthink vortex. And
now you did describe this podcast pretty well. That was a pretty accurate description.
I'm just so annoyed by that when I see that. I just want to push back respectfully on ideas, and you guys can do the same for me. But
no, man,
going to what you said, going to what Peter said, yes, of course you can't quit. It goes without saying, but there are so many bands that haven't quit and they're running on a hamster wheel and they go nowhere. And there's so many bands.
Again, Dan, you might be describing our band right now. So
I respectfully don't want to give too much credit to the notion of this is a war of attrition. Just don't quit.
Right.
I think.
There's so much more. Yeah, there's so much more. Yeah. No, it's a great point, man. Okay.
All right. With that, we have about 2 minutes left. I want to do a couple lightning round questions. First thing that comes to mind off the dome piece, favorite venue.
We like playing the bowstrings in Wilmington and Raleigh. Those are great venues.
Nice.
Bowstrings. Awesome.
Yeah, those are great
Best
venues.
best live show moment that you can think of?
Best live show moment, just recently that comes to mind is we just played with Pigeons playing ping pong.
Yeah.
I know their bass player.
Yeah, I love Ben. He's the
Ben,
man.
great guy. Yeah, man. I've known
And
him
we
for
just
20 years.
Yeah, I love Ben. He's the fucking man. We just kicked it with him.
Hell yeah.
And he always sits in with us when we play with them.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. That's so
Yeah, I
cool.
love Ben, and he's sober now and he's doing great. And
No,
like
he's good people. Where did you guys play with him?
we played at the Norva, and Pigeons bring out 1,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, they're
and I've been doing this thing lately where I like jump off the second tier at venues onto the stage.
Nice.
And
Not bad.
I did it at Norva, but I'll take responsibility for this. I didn't communicate well enough to the staff, and I took a couple layers off, and apparently they didn't recognize me. I took my hat off and a couple layers, and they didn't recognize me, and they thought I was a rabid fan, and they grabbed me while I was jumping off the second tier onto the stage, and thankfully I didn't get hurt. But we put up a viral video of it.
Nice.
Awesome.
We got a lot of hate for it, which is fun.
We got to close it down, man. Dale Rodman, thank you so much for being on the Denizen Sucks podcast. You're the man. Thank you so
you,
much.
Dale.
God
Appreciate
bless.
it, man. Great talking to you.
That was fun.
Adios.